Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to build the ultimate blueprint for running a business consultancy project. Seriously, we're going to break down step by step how you can take a really complex problem and turn it into a high-impact solution. So think about it. It always starts with just one question, right? A single challenge from a client. But once you have that in your hands, where do you even begin? How do you actually turn that problem into a tangible result? Well, that's exactly what we're here to do. We're going to give you the blueprint. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll get a handle on what the core challenge actually is. Then, we'll jump into some detective work and scope out the business environment. After that, it's time to get creative and generate ideas, followed by the really crucial part, delivering your solution and proving it worked. And finally, we'll wrap it all up in a killer report. All right, let's start at the very beginning. Section 1, the consultancy challenge. Because honestly, before you can even dream up a solution, you have to be absolutely crystal clear on what your core mission is. What are we fundamentally trying to achieve here? So here it is, the key takeaway. This is always, and I mean always, a two-part mission. It's not just about having some brilliant out-of-the-blue idea. You're basically a bridge. On one side, you have to really deeply understand the business and its unique problems. And on the other, you have to ground your solution in proven, solid theories and models. That's how you build something that isn't just creative, but is also robust and, actually works. So now that we know our mission, it is time for Section 2, where we get to put on our detective hats. We're scoping the business environment. To solve any case, or in our world, a business problem, you have to understand the scene of the crime, so to speak. We need to map out the entire world the company lives in, all the forces, big and small, that are shaping its day-to-day reality. The easiest way to think about this is like looking at the company through two different lenses. First, you've got the microenvironment. This is all the immediate stuff the company deals with and has at least some influence over. Then there's the macro environment. These are the bigger, broader forces that the company can't control, but absolutely has to react to. And this image is the perfect visual for that idea. Think of it like ripples in a pond. Right there in the center, that's the company. And that first ripple out, the microenvironment, that's everything it touches directly. Its customers, its suppliers, its competitors. All the relationships and forces it's dealing with every single day. And if we zoom out to that bigger outer ripple, we see the macro environment, which is broken down for us right here. These are the giant waves the company has to navigate but can't control. We're talking about massive shifts in the economy, political changes, or some brand new technology that comes out of nowhere. Your client's business is basically a ship trying to sail on this much, much larger ocean. So how do you investigate all this? Well, your number one weapon is secondary research. You need to become an expert, and you do that by digging into everything you can find. The company's own website, what the news is saying about them, the LinkedIn profiles of the key players, professional market reports, and even academic articles to give you that theoretical backbone. All right, our detective work is done. We've gathered all the clues. Now, for Section 3, it's time to pivot. We're shifting gears from analysis to action, from investigation to innovation. The big question now becomes, how do we actually create some value here? And the single most important rule at this stage is this: there are no bad ideas. Seriously, think of it like you're panning for gold. You have to sift through a ton of dirt just to find those little nuggets. So the goal here is quantity, not quality. Just generate a massive, unfiltered list of potential solutions, because you never ever know which seemingly tiny suggestion is going to be the one that sparks a huge breakthrough. Now, to bring a little bit of structure to all this creative chaos, you can use a really powerful tool like the Entrecomp framework. What's so cool about this is how it organizes the very skills you need for innovation into 3 really clear zones: coming up with the ideas, gathering the resources, and then actually putting those ideas into action. And let's see how this framework really builds out. This table clarifies those 3 key areas perfectly. Ideas and opportunities is your creative engine. It's about spotting those gaps in the market. Resources is all about the fuel, your motivation, your team, your financial know-how. And finally, into action is about hitting the gas and actually driving the project forward. And this is where the magic really happens. Look, an idea is just a thought until you build a bridge to reality. And as you can see here, that bridge is built with action. It's about taking the initiative, creating a solid plan, and working with others to turn that little spark of an idea into a tangible, valuable solution for your client. Which brings us perfectly to Section 4, Delivering and Measuring Success. This is where the rubber meets the road. It is not enough to just have a plan. You have to execute it and, just as importantly, prove that it actually worked. It is so critical to understand the difference between these two things. Delivery is the output. It's what you physically did. You designed a website, you wrote a report, you ran an event. Evaluation is the outcome. It's the impact of what you did. So what? Did the new website actually increase sales? Did the report change the company's strategy? And let me be super clear about this. This is absolutely non-negotiable. Every single claim you make about the success of your project has to be backed up with cold, hard evidence. Whether that's numbers, like sales figures and attendance, or more qualitative stuff like testimonials from stakeholders, you must be able to prove your impact. No excuses. We're in the home stretch now. Section 5, Structuring Your Final Report. You have done all the hard work, and now you have to package it all up into a clear, professional, and persuasive document for your client. This is how you tell the story of your success. Now, don't think of your report as some boring document. Think of it as the narrative of your project. It's a story with a logical flow. You start with that punchy executive summary, introduce the company and the problem, state your objectives, detail all your research and what you delivered, and then you close strong with your evaluation, your conclusions, and your powerful recommendations for what comes next. And let's put a special spotlight on the executive summary. If your client only reads one single page of your report, this is it. It is not an introduction. Think of it more like the movie trailer for your entire project. It's a complete miniature version of everything you did, from the initial problem to your final recommendations, all packed into just 5 to 10% of the total word count. And there you have it. From defining the challenge and investigating the environment, to generating ideas, delivering solutions, and proving your impact, you now have a repeatable blueprint for consultancy success. So the only question left is, what problem are you going to solve first?